morning. Welcome to Investigator News, and I'm Ellie. And we had a report come out this morning, a war alert. Two aircraft carrier strike groups of the PLA Navy advanced towards Taiwan. Two groups of warships of the PLL Navy, one is which led uh, by the Liaoning aircraft carrier, and the second by the Shandong aircraft carrier, began moving towards Taiwan against the backdrop of the group of the U.S. Navy warships. From the it had previously arrived in the waters of South China Sea. At the moment, the information and news uh, came from AVIA. Has information that the aircraft carrier of the PLL Navy has entered the waters of South China Sea, and informed aircraft carrier strike group is part of several warships advancing in the direction of Taiwan as of yesterday. The aircraft carrier also left with the naval base and moved towards Taiwan with another group of warships, which indicates that China can block off the approach to the island on two sides at once. The situation in the region today is almost critical, as it leads to a very serious confrontation, especially against the backdrop of Beijing's statement about its readiness to strike in the event of the slightest provocation from both Taiwan and the United States. And Nancy Pelosi is there in Taiwan. And they said they do not give up their plans. This could be a lead to real military clashes and escalate to full-scale military conflict. So there you have it right there. I guess we'll wait and see what happens today. I don't have the news going next to me, so if you hear anything, let me know, and I'll let our viewers know. I think a few in our chat tend to watch the news at the same time. So, hey, Karen and Mary are our moderators. And so if you want to come in and make a comment, or if you know something going on in Taiwan, jump on in and get the comment out there, and we'll be sure to put it up on the board. The U.S. sends weapons. Again, America sends NASAM air defense systems to Ukraine. The U.S. Department of Defense reported that they have already started sending the NASAM's air defense system. William, what's a NASAM? Is William in here? NASAM's NAZAM's air defense system, which they promised to transfer to Ukraine. This was discussed at a briefing in the Pentagon. I do not have detailed information on this, though, and on the specifics of the contracting process. But we are ready in the process of procuring the system's NASAM for Ukraine. It's a high-ranking official of the Ministry of Defense. It said in the beginning of July, the U.S. announced the transfer of air defense systems, and later it became known that 2 batteries of the system should be provided, and it would be the NASAM systems, and they are designed by a consortium of the American Raytheon Technologies Corporation and a Norwegian group, Kongsberg. The system include launchers and Raytheon and MPQ-64F1 Sentinel radars from the Raytheon and Kongsberg consortium. Each mobile launcher has 6 containers with anti-aircraft missiles. The NASAM system is either in service or about to be delivered to 12 countries. The firing range of the NASAM's 2 model using the AIM-120CM raw missiles. It's up to 25 kilometers, and the altitude range is up to 14 to 15 kilometers. So we have delivered to 12 countries, and we will be paying for all of this to go to 12 countries, it said. Now we know about al-Zawahiri that was killed. And of course, we've heard about it all over the news this morning. And he was struck on the balcony of a safe house His family members are alive, they say this morning. And Joe Biden is basically patting himself on the back over this, that he delivered and got rid of another terrorist leader, and that the U.S. officials have tracked him uh, into Kabul, and he was hiding out with his family. Um, my thing is was any of the head Al Qaeda guys or Taliban knew about this? Did they order this hit, or did we do this on our own? And how much of it did they really know? We're probably not going to know for a while. Um, he has been wanted for a very long time. So he's been hiding out for about 10, since Iraq, I believe. And so it was said that Afghanistan was harboring a lot of these terrorists and terrorist leaders. So with the, I'm thinking boots on the ground, the Americans that were left there, more than likely they noticed him and went ahead and turned it into the United States. So we have a lot of crucial questions about how this happened. Um, Now, he was a mastermind of the 9/11 attacks, one of them. And he had went out in the open and said he would attack the United States again if gotten the chance. Um, so we have been looking for him. We ended up getting Osama bin Laden. We killed him in 2011. And so the fear that there could be an uprising or maybe even a strike to the United States, as some of his family and those around him might be upset with what the American just did. Um, the Quite a few of the colonels and the Pentagon say they did question him on other terrorist leaders and where they might be. And they said that at this point they feel that the Taliban will be was the ones that tipped them off. Also, um, they are watching the area very, very closely for anything that could come back and strike. So already, what? She's 18 days old today. Really? Wow, Karen. That baby's growing big. Has she gained weight? So anyway, Putin singles out um, using his country's imperial past to rally the people Sunday, and which is Navy Day in Russia. And so in so 2 centuries later, it was abolished by the Soviet Union, Putin, but he's brought it back in 2017. So he's reintroducing Navy Day. And not only that, but dozens of warship and aircraft were on display and for everybody to see. Not only that, but it ended up dominating the Black Sea region. And of course, Ukraine is accusing them of doing this on purpose, not using Navy Day. They said there is uh, the key here is the capabilities of the Navy to be able to quickly respond, is what Putin claims. And the Russian president says he's an avid admirer of Peter the Great, the Russian monarch who founded Russia's Imperial Navy. And he praised Peter the Great at the ceremony, and announced some upgrades of his own hypersonic missiles. And I think he probably did use this to throw it out there that they've got better hypersonic missiles now. And see, that's the one thing that me and William even talked about, was that we thought it would be more of a hypersonic type of weapon that he would use and not really nuclear. Or it was me. I know I said it. I don't know if William agreed with me. I can't remember. So, um, On Tuesday, the ship will re-enter the Turkish waters and it'll be inspected by a team in Istanbul, and after that, it sails for Beirut. The plan is to increase the shipments gradually. And what are we talking about? Guess what? It's the first ship that and container of Rizzoni, tons of corn, 26 tons of corn. It will ease the pressure on the grain importing countries like Egypt. And so we've got corn heading this way, not so much grain, but they said they were able to load up the corn before it went bad over there in Ukraine. So hopefully we will start seeing things come out of Odessa, is where they're letting a lot of these ships out, or the ships are getting out. So uh, now Putin says that um, this new naval doctrine suggests that the opposite, that he's fighting Ukraine and what he calls the biggest threat. With about the time Ukraine put this boat in the water, or this ship in the water full of corn, is when the Navy of Putin's decide to showcase all their naval fleets. So, uh, China spy ship. India has now raised some serious concern about the Chinese vessel arrival at Sri Lanka port, and its New Delhi concern, which is reports that the vessel is actually capable of snooping on India's nuclear plant in the southern state. And they said that it also could be looking at other areas around India and spying to see who has what nuclear capabilities. It has an aerial reach of more than 750 kilometers, which means it can actually snoop at the Indian nuclear plants in Tamal and Naduz and Kalapakam and Kandakolam. It can also track activities in the southern states of Kerala and Pradesh. And now, as many as 6 southern Indian ports have reported to be under China focus. And the vessel could potentially gather information about vital installations along the southern India. And now, the implications of the Chinese spy ship in the Indian Ocean region are many. And the analysis claim that the vessel that will be stationed at Lunken Port from the 11th of August till the 17th have major consequences for the Indian security architecture. Therefore, India has now conveyed serious concerns about allowing Chinese ship to dock at the Humboldt, and the government has carefully monitored any development having a bearing on India's security and economic interest. They said this could be a clear message that if things work out and they find out the information they need from India, they'll move to another country and do the same. Meanwhile, Yangwang 5 has a distinct role in missile and satellite tracking, and the ship is said to be lethal in its capabilities, and also its comparison to the Chinese submarines that were docked. And this was back in 2014. Now the experts claim that the vessel has the capability to snoop on coastal state, which makes its presence in India neighborhood a matter of serious concern. The Indian government is closely monitoring these developments and giving all the information it can on these ships as a spy ship, to not only to the United States but to the UN. And so it could also be potentially violating some innocent passage requirements in the territorial seas defined according to United Nations and the law of the sea. So I think it's a After I had read this and I went and checked out a few more articles, to me, it's China just seeing if it can get a hold of nuclear information. And then I agree with India, it's going to move on to another country. Um, so, uh, so nuclear U.S. bases. Um, Now that we've been getting a lot of threats, and there was one from Iran about taking out New York, but they say a lot of the planes you could be hearing at night. And that, Mary, this made me think of you because you said they're always going over. Um, what they're overlooking is America's nuclear facilities, but it's not the U.S. keeping an eye on things. It's an adversary, and basically the Communist Chinese Party has gotten close to America's nuclear secrets, and that's why it's a risk to national security. And experts say there needs to be a fundamental shift on how we view the Chinese regime. And so, America's nuclear facilities are intentionally placed in remote area, and it's particularly on a safeguard in case something goes wrong. Adversaries can't really find them too easily, but it seems like one that Huawei has put in its cell towers around America's nuclear missile bases and special operations command and a nuclear sub base. And it's clearly not a coincidence because they are not um, um, making any money on these deployments. Now, there's these nuclear bases that are located, and it's important of many America's nuclear missile silos are located in areas like Wyoming, Montana, and North Dakota. The reasons they put them in the central locations is that China and other like Russia can't get close enough to hear what's going on. But now there's the cell towers, and FBI agents have been monitoring Huawei gear and looking at smaller rural telecom providers that show up next to these U.S. bases. And it's no accident that where Huawei gear pops up, and clearly political and military move that what they're doing, and to put their cell tower equipment right around the most secure locations in the country. Now, there hasn't been no response from the Biden administration, but the Pentagon's concern in the Department of Defense is that these cell towers are close to military bases and the U.S., and they could intercept sensitive information and pass it along to uh, those over in China that would either pay for the information or it's the CCP wanting the information. And former FBI counterintelligence executive focusing on Huawei said back in March that this year, when it comes to Huawei and ZTE and other Chinese telecom companies, a lot of this is based on its overt functionality and the ability of the Chinese nation state to potentially collect and move data without anyone even knowing about it. Since telecoms is so critical, and how much access does China have to America's network? Now, according to quite a few with the Department of Defense, that this is very critical, and they believe China does have America's network all pretty much mapped out, and they know where to find the bases, and they know where to look and where to put the proper poles for this 5G. And so, as we look at this, and they warn again about TikTok, and that a lot of people are just being duped into believing that TikTok is just a lot of fun videos. And they said, and the more people demanding their internet and faster internet, the more that these towers will go up. But They are now saying that they are doing flyovers, not only with aircraft, but with drones to keep an eye on who's watching the towers and who lives close enough to it to be able to maybe steal some information. So, um, wow. I mean, that's just something. From the experts on the risk it brings to the U.S. national security, that the Chinese regime is setting up shop next to sensitive locations. And not just Huawei, but the steps that are being taken to stem that threat. um, I don't know. You guys are going to have to call me on whatever's happening in chat. So, electric buses again. This time, they decide to go backwards on their own. There is a hill, I believe. Let's see. Um, to climb steep hills, it's failing to do so. This was in India, and you know how steep those roads are, and how a one-car road um, could possibly you can't back up and you can't go forward, and you just have to figure it out. Well, what they found out is when they overloaded quite a few buses, like they normally do, the bus, when it started going up the hill, it wouldn't go. Well, the bus automatically put itself in reverse. Well, tourists started jumping from the bus and trying to get out. Well, the driver managed to stop it as it was trying to push itself backwards. And after quite a few had gotten off the bus, he was able to roll it forward. And now the people in India are very leery of these buses now. Um, so not only do we have the batteries catching on fire with these buses, but now if you overload them, they're going to go backwards. So they said on a hairpin turn on a hilly road near Singhagen Fort, um, that now they're taking a second look at whether they should even have these buses. And now that a fleet of them are coming in, they're not so sure that they really trust them. And they said they would like to just go back to what they had, that the buses, there was nothing wrong with them, but they do intend to preserve the area's ecology and will try to work around these buses. The problem is that people will just jump on the bus and load them down. There's no set seats, and if they have to ride on top, they do. So authorities decided that they should be better prepared for this. And if the bus rolls down because of overcrowding, this is a major safety concern for the passengers. So yeah, wow. So they go backwards when you overload them. Man, these EVs got some serious problems. Is the bags, the seat belts, the um, batteries, and now if you overload them, they go backwards. If you hook a trailer up to them, your time evaporates very quickly. So it doesn't hold a charge if you pull a trailer. So, and why they don't recall these things, it makes no sense. So, good morning to Linda. Um, so, watch out for the electric buses. Washington um, um, hands Taiwan over on a silver platter. And it says, we do not support independence. And when I read that and then I heard it for myself, I thought, is that why Pelosi is going over there? It's to reverse what was said in person? Or do we actually not support their independence and we don't support Taiwan? At one moment, they're saying Nancy Pelosi, go over there. No, you're not going to go over. It's too dangerous. And they said they support Taiwan. They don't support Taiwan. It's flip flopping. And I don't think any of us really know. Is it to confuse China and CCP? And like they are crying wolf every time they fly low. and they have been flying low. They did exercises over the last few days. So um, Beijing claims that it does not outright control. And while the U.S. has avoided fully affirming this with Taiwan, um, for decades, it's recognized the One China policy, which claims the People Republic of China, founded and ruled over the CCP, is the sole legal government of China. Therefore, the Republic of China and Taiwan Democrat government is not officially recognized by the U.S. government. So I don't know if they're going to stick with that. But to me, we now are disagreeing with them. We are now letting Pelosi be there. And I think they're crying wolf back. So um, we'll have to wait and see what happens today. We really do. Rumble in the jungle orders Google to turn over documents on choking free speech competition, but even on their sites. So now this is court orders that Google turn over documents on basically choking out freedom of speech on a lot of their um, Ukraine Russia relations, but also on um, other issues that have been brought up in the news. And a U.S. District Judge um, Gillum questioning Google's somewhat counterintuitive that Rumble has pled too much. And then the third censorship lawsuit, big tech plans on winning with approval for legal discoveries in the last few months. And between the companies and the Biden administration to censor disfavored speakers, viewpoints, and content on their platforms. Like me, I always get banned. So it looks like they're now going to start looking at Google for doing the same thing that Twitter and Facebook is doing, but on a bigger scale. So they say there shouldn't be no progressive critic of censorship. And of course, Rumble is backing them up on this, saying that even though they do enjoy all the viewers coming from YouTube and a few others to them, it still shouldn't be allowed to happen. And so we might be looking at after November that the GOP could be going after um, uh, not only Google, but Twitter and Facebook. I believe Facebook's already in court over almost the same thing. And the court was ordering their information too on the specifics of people that they were banning from the channels. So, okay, Newsom, he's declaring a state of emergency over this monkeypox outbreak. He declared the state of emergency Monday in response with the outbreak in the Golden State. And the emergency declaration enables emergency medical services personnel to administer the monkeypox shot. And so California is working urgently across all levels to slow the spread of the monkeypox and leveraging testing and tracing and community partnerships that's happening. Right now, they said they want to raise awareness about reducing risk. And the bigger risk is with the LGBTQ. And they don't they're fighting the community's stigmatization. And they said, no, they're not trying to point a finger at one culture, but because it is growing that they have concerns. Now, they did have a shot for it quite a few years ago, but they said they are low and they do not have enough made up to now um, be able to take care of close to 127 cases of it just in California alone. And they're calling it this another pandemic, and that they might need to shut down California due to that, and even the water. So, wow. Um, this is something this morning. So, monkeypox is growing and it's getting big. Now, there is another sickness that does cause a rash that they say is out and spreading across the United States right now. Looks like a heat rash, but with little blisters, or some of the blisters are a little bit bigger. And they're warning people that this is just another form of the flu, but it does need to be seen by your physician. Okay. Um, the new federal that are against the, the fossil fuels now has put out that gas drilling and oil and gas drilling needs to be halted in California. And Newsom is ready to back this up. So looks like they won't be drilling. Now, I always knew about the natural gas out there when they were fracking. Enron did it. Enron was the one that was doing a lot of the getting the gas for most of California. Um, so basically, what we're seeing is, uh, oh, well, I didn't get to it didn't open up on me. It must be my computer. Um, all right, let's see if we can get it. And we got it. All right. Um, so Central California be prohibiting um, the BLM to conduct more of the review of the impact drilling in the region. Until then, they're going to cut off all this drilling, and mostly of the natural gas. And they said it will remain in effect until the Bureau conducts a supplemental environment review. Uh, Now, they said this is a Trump era plan to make more than 1 million acres of land for oil and gas leaking, hydraulic fracturing or fracking, according to the Attorney General's office. But Newsom and other state agencies filed a lawsuit in 2020 alleging that BLM's previous environmental reviews did not take a hard look at the impacts of fracking on the environment. And so they are going to halt it, which means less gas and less in our reserve. Um, did we get that one? Oh, someone didn't like me there, huh? We had a boom boom and go away. We don't allow that here. So go find someone else to troll. So, all right. So, um, someone didn't like what I had to say about the Iran, probably. So, Iran regime announces plans to construct nuclear warheads and destroy New York. Yeah, that's maybe what Boom Boom was upset about. Um, so the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the IRGC, issued a threatening statement on its official Telegram channels over the weekend that its goal is to develop atomic warheads and threaten to destroy New York, according to the official post of Iran. And immediately turned the Imad project and build an atom bomb if Nanit's facilities are attacked. According to the media reports, the comments made by Iran um, when will Iran's sleeping nuclear warheads awaken? In a short video, Tehran declared that it would use its peaceful nuclear program into a nuclear weapons program quickly if the United States or Israel made any careless mistakes. And the video posted further that stated Iran could pulverize New York and turn it to a hellish ruin. They also boasted about places like DC or like Fordlow that are built deeper under the mountains of Iran. And it's protected against trench busting bombs and atomic explosions. So they said they're ready if anything happens to come back. And while the Nanitz facility in the Isfahan province is vulnerable to attack by the Western and Israeli forces, other facilities can assume a war footing and engage in rapid nuclear breakouts. They said they put a video out of this. And last week, Kanani, Iran's former ministry spokesman, stated that Tehran would not rush into a quick nuclear deal with the West. And the West is saying it should take it. It's the best deal that they can offer. And Iran really should cooperate with U.S. talks constructively and positive, and not go about this in a vicious manner. Now, Iranian Foreign Minister Abdul-Onhian told reporters that Iran is seeking guarantees from the United States to be stung twice, the same way the previous administration had done to them. So the U.S. and Iran regime have stepped away from nuclear talks to revive the old agreements under the Obama administration, and they would stipulate to Iran as soon as they made their decisions of civilian use and receive economic sanction relief from the West if possible. So, wow. So, I think I don't think they're real close and they're real serious about that. They said New York and DC earlier. Now it's just New York. So I guess they're mad at New York. But we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with this Iran deal, whether it goes one way or the other, because that's the only way they're going to make a decision. Is if it's not good for Iran, then they might make some more threats. I really don't believe that they're going to bomb New York. I think that's just a lot of threats. George Soros is now in a little bit of trouble because he's continuing to back Antifa, and not only that, but woke prosecutors, and in the lives that they've ruined. So now they're announcing tens of millions of dollars in donations to get progressive district attorneys elected in cities across the nation. He laughably claimed that such prosecutors are dumb and are making the criminal system overtake very easy and more effective and just, he claims. And despite of much evidence to the contrary, including skyrocketing crime and countless shattered lives, he said Americans desperately need more thought discussion about the response to crime. People have had enough of demagoguery and the division and attacks that dominate the debate and obscure the issues. He says, yet your system is rife with injustices that makes it less safe. The idea that we need to choose between justice and safety is false. They reinforce each other. If people would trust the justice system, it will work. And if the system works, public safety will improve. And also there are quite a few that's lost family members that are now looking to sue George Soros. So it looks like George Soros could be in the middle of some problems, legal problems. The dog came in and threw my door open. So, and the birds were moving around. We don't need the birds. All right, so we're on back again. Um, N- Nichelle Nichols. Does the name sound familiar, you guys? Nichelle, I believe. She played Lieutenant Aurora, and she died on Sunday at the age of, let's see, I think it was 88 years old. Um, I believe she was 88. Okay. So she was the first officer to the guy with the pointed ears, they said. And the attractive black woman was, of course, Nichelle Nichols, played Lieutenant Uhura, who died on the 30th of July. A lot of people really didn't realize it, but the news did come out over the last few days. And she said she wasn't happy after the first season because too many um, issues and problems with things working right, and but it made for better bloopers. She said she is a successful singer, dancer, actress, in a musical theater, and she was being approached for Broadway at the time, but she went ahead and took the Star Trek uh, idea and contract instead. So she was 89 years old. So Lieutenant Aurora is gone. And that's sad. When I did the Trekkie conventions, I was able to, I got her autograph. I don't know what I did with it. She gave me a tribble that she had. She didn't know where it came from and asked if I wanted it. And I took it, of course. Then I went and bought a few more. Um, and I got to talk to her for a little bit, her and Sulu, and I got briefly to talk to Captain Kirk. But most of those were, you had to pay for them. But the crew members that weren't the big stars, you were able to just to go up and talk to them at that time. So very sad, and prayers go to her family. Um, okay. The number of police officers shot this year reaches a staggering new poll. They said this has been the worst in history. They said it was even worse than before when it seemed the highest crime rates in New York and Chicago quite a few years ago. Over 200 police officers have been shot this year. This year. And resulted in 14% increase in officers being shot compared to the same time last year. Over 71 of those officers were in ambush style attacks. 39 officers killed being shot. 210 officers shot, 39 killed by gunfire, 71 officers shot, and 46 separate ambush style attacks. This has got to stop. Um, and we are experiencing a real crisis level with violence directed at law enforcement officers, which come from the Democrat Party. They're the ones, defund the police, get the police. They call them pigs. Um, a lot of the protesters have never liked police officers. I mean, think about it in the 60s and 70s. But this has gotten to a point where they're throwing Molotovs in their car to set them on fire. They're pulling them out of their cars and beating them up. Um, they've thrown water on them, milk on them, eggs. I don't know why they were throwing. I can understand throwing eggs at them, and other foods. They've thrown garbage. They've thrown uh, uh, smoke bombs. Molotovs at their feet and hit them with bricks and other items. So they said, is there something that's going to be done? Is this a nationwide crime, a crisis? According to the Biden administration, no, that's not. According to the cities where they are, no, it's not. It's out of control public due to the pandemic. And they said they can get control on it after everyone can just calm down and we can get past November, and then everyone should be calming down, as well as the protesters. So, I think it's going to take a Rudy Giuliani sweep through and go after the gangs and their guns, and start doing something about these judges. Because even if we put police officers on the streets and we pay them and we do it, it's going to be up to the judge and that DA whether they're going to be charged or not charged. They could be turned around and threw right back out on the street, which does no good. So it's going to have to be a change by the prosecutors and the judges, or nothing's going to change. Okay, so China buying, now we heard about them with their listening devices with 5G, but them buying land is a bigger security. And they're now starting to take notice that all of the what they're buying into is has a way of spying or getting is national intelligence. One is buying property right next to military installations or farms. The other one is they're buying up colleges now. And the other one is buying big businesses. So they're buying up businesses, they're buying up the colleges, and now they're moving right next to military installations. And this is all a national security. And it's a security risk that it goes farther beyond, because we can't buy nothing over there. We wouldn't be able to, but the Biden administration is allowing China to purchase up as much land as they want at this point. Now, there was out in California, victims are really complaining about the forest fires that they endured that were set by the federal government. We're talking PG&E and also lightning strikes and other things that have started these fires. Well, the Biden administration is now not going to fully compensate the victims. They said because California is a lack of funding, and that they need to put more money into the water. That's a bigger national security than the fires. So they're not going to be fully compensated, these victims. And this has angered quite a few, especially around Paradise, because they didn't get even half of what they thought they were going to get, or what they were promised to get. And now they're just not going to, they're not going to get the rest of their money. And now the Biden administration is stepping in for California to say that the funding just isn't there. All right, so let's all get mad at Tesla, because they have struck and signed battery deals with two places in communist China. So instead of trying to make the batteries here so they don't catch on fire, or even trying to figure out a way of another country, we have definitely signed battery deals, at least two suppliers in communist China. Here we go again. We're sending $500 million in military aid to Ukraine. This is on top of what we're sending them with the missile launchers, but we're also going to send military aid, and this is including HIMARS missiles. So Now we've agreed to another 550 million just in the last couple days. Um, and not only that, but um, the extra 8 million that we plan on sending them, and how many pallets of money did we send them before February? That we had been giving them since 2008. I'd like to know the total cost to the American taxpayers that we've had to endure, and our taxes go up due to the money they're giving away, not only to Ukraine, but Iran. And how many other more countries are we um, giving all this aid to? Um, and this is something that now the military is said they're wanting to look into. The Department of Defense is now asking Ukraine for where is the money going. So now they're asking for their data of where all of this money is going, and what part of it is aid and how much of it's going into military weapons. And I think it's because of what I told you the other day about they're just they're just loading them into vehicles when they get it. And not only that, but Poland's in charge. But we're finding out now that a lot of the weapons are on the black market. So if you missed it, go back a few days and listen to that one. Um, so Iran gains a foothold in South America as um, and it's basically to pursue a nuclear deal. So Iran's trying to secure a nuclear deal with South America, and so is the Biden administration. But as it looks, South America said that Iran has more to offer. Um, wow, that's uh, Iran's getting around now, and not only that, but even North Korea said that if South Korea, since the visit with Nancy Pelosi might happen, that they are going to start doing practice shots again, and they're going to shoot up some more missiles until Nancy Pelosi leaves the South China Seas. Okay, now there has been a um, 50 drink products, including protein shakes, have been recalled. It's a Fresno, California manufacturer. Um, uh, they say it contains a Chronobacter sakazaki. The products did not meet commercial sterile a specification. It's an organism that is, when consumed, can cause illness, particularly to immune compromised individuals. And common symptoms of it include an infection and fever and vomiting. This is the Oatly oat milk, barista addition, imperial nutrition drinks, and thickened dairy milk, and the array of protein shakes, including several varieties of Premier Protein, um, Aloha, MRE, Perk, and Glucerna brands. So if you are into the Oatly oat milk or any of these, the varieties, they have been recalled. So I hope none of you guys drink that stuff. Ooh, I don't know about oat milk. My kids seem to like this almond milk. I'm not too keen on any of it. I'm standing with Bessie the cow. I'm agreeing with Bessie the cow. So I'm the Bessie the cow fan, and everybody else can be the almond and the oat milk. So, well, be very careful if this is what you have changed to. I know they advertise oat milk a lot, so be careful. In if you do have it on your shelf, that you might check it and go to um, The full list of the Recon line Magnus products can be found at the U.S. Food and Drug Administration website. So, not the almond milk, it's just the Oakley oat milk. Ugh. So, I'm gonna stick with Bessie the cow. I'm gonna stay true to Bessie. All right, and her ribs, and the barbecue. All right, so former oil executive recession comes alongside the energy crisis, and what they have been told is the gas will increase over $5 a gallon within the next few weeks. They said there's no way to keep from the prices going back up. This was a plan of the Biden administration, and the former oil executive warns that there's just not the recession of the world in causing increases to our food prices, but it's going to increase the gas prices as well. They don't feel that this will go to November. They think it's going to happen within the next 15 to 30 days. So we'll see it by the end of August. So they said they're just warning everyone, and there's just nothing they could do about it because they're going state to state, and any fracking, drilling, oil, fossil fuels, they are shutting it all down by going state to state. So it's going to go over 5 by the end of the month, folks. Too bad we can't bottle it up and save it. Can you know? Obama's got a gas pump. We should, too bad we can't invest in one of those ourselves. Um, Manchin is double talking, and what a mess he's going to make with this inflation deal. Yes, we are going to be taxed. The middle class is going to be taxed. He basically, they're saying anybody that makes under, I think it's 200,000 will be taxed. Small businesses will be taxed. And it goes all the way to the upper class, middle class. The only one it didn't hit was the lower income class. So, um, um, what I seen in it was just a lot of money. What I think has happened is the Green New Deal people know that it's on its way out, and they all want to make their money that they were promised. So this is the money to pay them back. It's just all Green New Deal stuff. I don't see any tax breaks. It does look like the wealthy will get one if they agree to solar panels, the car, and all of the extras that go with it. They'll get a tax break. So this did help the rich. It didn't necessarily help us to get a car, one of them EVs, but I don't know. A donkey's starting to sound way better than the car right now. Now, there is 2 warnings. One is infants, 23 infants hospitalized in Tennessee for paracherovirus. The CDC warns. They said it includes fever, a fussiness, poor feeding, according to the CDC. It's going after the young kids and babies. And the doctors are warning about the spread of this. It's a common viral infection that could cause severe illness among infants younger than 3 months. Listen up on this, Karen. And well, you don't live in Tennessee, so you're good. But just keep an eye on this. The CDC issued a health advisory to clinics and public health systems and health departments to make them aware of the circulating parachovirus. Um, and they say that they have found it in the medical center in Nashville, Tennessee, and they're going to do what they can to rid it and notify parents and even infants leaving the hospitals. The common children between the ages of 6 months and 5 years can be more severe than infants. It's a sepsis-like illness, seizures, meningitis, or according to the CDC. If you feel that your child is becoming fussy, seems to have a fever or a poor feeding, be sure to get a hold of your pediatrician. So, not on formula in my area. So if you have an infant and you are in Tennessee, check with your pediatrician on this. Now, the next one that we're looking at a warning on is that I said it on the weather show this morning, is protonit tazing. And this is worse than fentanyl. This is a new drug that's come out, and it's 100 times stronger than morphine. And basically, it can cause you to stop breathing. It's made in China, and your Narcan that they say that's normally used for the fentanyl, it takes 2 to 3, and sometimes even the shots aren't working. So this is a new drug that China is making, and it's worse than fentanyl. So now we have a new drug to worry about. So, Karen, do you want me to spell that for you? Keep an eye on it and ask. Make sure you have when you have her looked at it with the pediatrician, see if it's anywhere near you guys. And let me see. I'll spell it for you. It's Parechhovirus. Well, I don't know if you can get it in your, there's the link for it from Fox News this morning. They're the ones that I seen the warning on. When I first seen it, I thought it was that new drug that China's making. And I thought, no, it sounds different. So, because I guess they all start with the P, pizza, like this morning. You guys are gonna have to go back and watch the how to call into the pizza, call your pizzas in. That was pretty funny this morning. So, so anyway, it is. Well, I might be able to. No, I can't. Okay, for those of you who want to know the name of it, there it is. That is the name of it. So, all right, well, good. And that way, I mean, even though it's in Tennessee, if you guys are around Tennessee, Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, be very careful and be sure to have these babies checked out, especially those 3 months and under. But then it says it's even harsher on the older kids. So, any questions? Anybody have any questions or comments? Now's the time. Otherwise, that is it for the day. We have no show tonight, but we have me and William tomorrow night. And it ought to be a really good military show. And the military stuff we had here for today, we just going to have to watch. And if you're seeing more airplanes flying over, it's only the protection of our nuclear sites at this point. I think now the Biden administration is realizing that there can be something that can happen to the United States, and that he is making a lot of enemies. Go further up. Please go farther up. I don't understand. I don't know. For those that want to go, want that that link, it's a little bit further up, And also for the name of it is right below, um, just above where Karen is now talking. So let's see. There you go. That is the name of it for those that are wondering. And if you guys don't quite have the link, here it is. And it's said that 23 infants hospitalized in Tennessee. So there you have it, folks. And I'm very glad you guys came and watched today. We had a big, quite a few in the morning show. And we appreciate you for watching, and we enjoy our viewers. So please subscribe and share, and hit the like button, and hit that bell. If you're not getting notified, hit the bell. And we only have a few more days left. I think this is the last week, and we will be back on Investigator News 2. And then I'll remind them if they can't find us, they got to move over this way for the network. And also over there in Facebook, please hit follow and like. And you guys stay cool. I know it's going over 100 in the southern part of the states, and stay cool. And of course, the thunderstorms that are rolling across, it looks like we're Virginia and Pennsylvania. So, all right. And I have really bad allergies today. Bad, with the mold growing on the side of the house, and the wind is blowing a little bit. So I've got allergies really bad. So I'm going to go do my allergy thing and watch a movie. And with that, you guys have a very wonderful day. And we will see you in the morning. Bye-bye, folks. God bless.